Hey, what's up everybody? It's Coach Matt, EliteThrowsCoaching.com. Happy spring track. We are in the middle of May. It was like 45 degrees outside today and it is pouring rain. As you can see right up there, we have a metal roof at the gym. So this might be a tough video to shoot because it just started downpouring. We are talking thunder and rain downpouring outside. But in today's video, we're going to talk about a very common problem that happens in the discus circle, which is opening up too early, being way too open when the thrower gets into the power position. So there are many different reasons, about 10 different reasons why a thrower will commonly find themselves too wide open in the power position. So we're going to take you out in the circle and we are going to show you a lot of those more common reasons why that happens. But before we do that, make sure to go right down below this video and click the subscribe button and click that notification bell as well. That way you are notified when any new videos come out, whether it's a video analysis, a Q&A video, or a how-to video like this one. We're going to keep doing these playlists even after the season. We're probably going to do more strength training, conditioning based stuff when the summer starts up. We have the new version of the off-season training manual coming out as well. So make sure to check that out. That'll be released here. So subscribe so you are first in line to hear about it. All right, so let's head out into the circle and we are going to start talking about why your athletes are probably landing wide open in the power position. Okay, so first things first, what does it mean to be too wide open or too open in the power position? Well, we know from previous videos underneath this series and also from our previous glide shot put playlist and video series here on YouTube, we know that when we get into our power position or when we transition into our power position or land in our power position, whatever verbiage you want to use, when the athlete gets into his power position, we are looking for the blocking arm. In this case, I'm right-handed thrower, so my left arm is back, my chest is back, my head is back, and that's keeping my weight back. You can see I'm up on the ball of my power foot, and my blocking foot is barely has any weight on it. Okay, so the power position begins. The start of the power position is when the blocking foot just touches down near the front of the circle, near the front rim or the toe board of the circle. In this case, being a shot put circle, it's near the toe board. So the blocking foot touches down. That is the start of the power position. And to be in a proper power position, when that happens, when that blocking foot touches down, we want the left arm back. We want the chest back, the head back, the eyes back, and our weight back over the power leg. Opening up too early essentially means that the athlete starts to throw. The athlete starts to unwind. The athlete starts to open up with that blocking arm. The athlete starts to look down the throwing area before the blocking foot touches down in the front of the circle. So the left foot, in this case being a righty, my left foot's coming down. It's about to come down. I've come out of that mirror turn position. The left foot's about to touch down, but before it does, I start to open and then put the left foot down. So the throw is out of sequence. We know the blocking foot has to come down first. The blocking foot has to ground, then we can start to turn the right side, open the left side, and then push down the middle. But if the athlete's thinking about throwing too early, they're going to open up, they're going to start to peek, they're going to start to look, then they're going to put the left foot down, and they're going to be too wide open. Instead of being back all the way, they are open and looking down the throwing area too early. Alright, so in this part of the video, I'm going to basically just machine gun through, just rattle off through a bunch of different reasons why your athlete might be opening up too early, starting in the back of the circle. And I'm going to write a short description down below so that you can go through and take some notes, because there is, just off the top of my head, probably about 10 very common reasons, because it all starts in the back. Something wrong in the back is going to have a negative effect on what goes on in the front. So we're going to start here on the back of the circle, explain a lot of reasons that might be leading to them being too wide open in the front, and there is about 10 or 11 of these things that we're going to try to kind of speedy, kind of machine gun through really quick. The first reason is kind of basic, but it's kind of also dumb at the same time. It's probably something that you've never thought of, but when kids grow up, my son just started playing t-ball. My little guy, he's 6, just started playing t-ball this year. And in teaching him how to throw, they basically teach that you look at where you're throwing first. So they say, look at where you're going to throw, point your hand, point your foot, step, and throw. So look at your target, step, and throw. So if that starts when somebody's maybe 4, 5, 6 years old, and then you get them as a 14-year-old high school freshman, they have 8, 9, 10 years of learning to step and throw. That's baseball, that's also football, quarterback, look at your target, step and throw. They're used to looking, stepping, and throwing. So what do you think is going to happen in the power position? They're used to looking, stepping, and then throwing. So it's backwards from what they commonly know. They don't know to keep back. They're trying to look at where they're going to throw, look at their target, and unfortunately, it's counterproductive to what needs to happen in the shot put and the discus. Problem number 2 is you may not have taught them how to do a proper standing throw when they first came out to work with you, or their previous coach, maybe at the middle school level if you're a high school coach, didn't teach them how to do a proper standing throw at the middle school level. So we know proper standing throw, you get your feet in the right position, good heel-toe position, you shift your weight back, you turn your body, look at something, point at something, and then we go through the sequence. Ground the left foot, turn the right side, open the blocking arm, slap the giant, elbow the mugger, punch a hole in the sky. All the stuff that we all know from years of doing this. The other coaches may have been brand new, may not have known anything about track, and they may not have taught their kids to step and turn all the way back. They might just do this, like we see at a lot of middle school meets, where they just kind of keep their eyes looking down the sector, and they step and they throw, and they don't learn to turn all the way back. So now they've got a couple of years, 2 or 3 years of bad habits that you need to break. They weren't taught how to do it originally the correct way, so now you have to reteach them. Those are 2 really simple, really basic ones. If you teach them the right way and you teach them the sequence and imprint these correct patterns in their head, it may actually stop what they're doing when they do the full throw as well. Problem number 3 goes back to one of our very first videos that we did in this series, and that's getting weight over your left as you turn out of the back of the circle. If an athlete doesn't do a good enough job getting weight over their left as they turn out of the back, they start to fall and sort of dive their left shoulder into the circle. Well, this could be the cause of them over-rotating. If they are opening up too early, if they're getting over their left, they're not going to over-rotate. If they're diving through the circle, they may over-rotate. And that over-rotation coming in here into the circle, they may have to open up to keep their balance. And then it's going to compound and they're going to be open in the front. So if they don't do a good job, if they're here instead of here. So if they're trying to turn and they're here, they may over-rotate, which may cause them to what? Catch back here. Now they're not holding their left. Now they're open. As they come down to the front, all of a sudden what happens? We are too far open. So that can be a cause. Make sure they're getting over their left so that they can drive down the circle, not throwing their left, over rotating, and then being too wide open. Problem 4. the up, down, up in the back of the circle. So if you have an athlete that has that sort of down, up, also causes over rotation. But what's going on with their left arm? So if they continue to open up that left arm, lose separation, get the discus in front of the right hip, well, now their left arm is going too far behind their left hip, causing them to be too wide open, which means that that left arm is probably going to be behind that left hip still as they get to the front of the circle. So it looks like this, where down, up, get to the front of the circle after over-rotating, and look at the left arm, too wide open. Because they took too long getting out of the back, they went up and down and up to the middle. That left arm the whole time continued to open up too far, leading them to be too wide open in the front of the circle as well. Problem number 5, you have an athlete that takes their left arm and tries to kind of use that left arm to spin their body around down the circle. Now, I personally, as a coach, I know there are some coaches that teach this kind of Frankenstein position where they always want the left arm in front of their body. So as the athlete turns out of the back, they're here, and then they're here, and they're kind of stuck in this Frankenstein position. There's no opening and closing of the left arm. What I like personally, now there are other coaches that think differently, but personally, I like to see when you come out of the back of the circle that the left toe, the left knee, the left hand are all kind of pointing and reaching toward the discus cage. I don't want to see too much this way. I don't really want the arm behind the hip, and I don't want the arm in front of the hip. I like to see the arm even with the hip out of the back. So toe, knee, left arm is over here. Okay, everything is kind of lined up. The toe, the knee, and the hand are all pointing in the same direction as you turn out of the back, or shot as you turn out of the back. Now, from this position, if you have an athlete that throws their arm around too far, now just like in the last problem, the arm is too far behind the hip. This carries through the circle because then as you drive, what we are looking for is that when we land in that mirror turn position, we want to hold the left arm here. Then as you turn, hold the left arm so the left arm stays back. Okay? If the left arm is too far behind the hip in the back, it's going to be too far behind the hip as you drive. You're not holding it here anymore at 3 o'clock. It's too open. Then as you turn, it's too open. So I don't like to teach my athletes to throw their hand, throw their arm behind the hip. I want it even with the hip because sometimes if it's too far behind the hip, then it's going to be behind the hip here, and it's going to be behind the hip here, and they're just going to be too open with that left arm. Problem 6 is one that we talked about a couple of videos ago, and that's not driving through the circle and kind of jumping and twirling and spinning and showing your butt to the official. Remember we talked about the old Brian Oldfield story from years ago, kind of turning and jumping and showing your butt to the official and how he yelled across this giant gym. It's one of my favorite stories. He yelled across this giant gym to the guy who was presenting, telling him basically he was an idiot because he was teaching to jump across and show your butt and spin around too quickly. And there needs to be a drive through the circle. Well, if you have an athlete doing that, trying to spin around too early, trying to kind of twirl their body like a ballerina or like a figure skater through the circle, a lot of times what they do in that act of spinning is they pull their arms in. They don't stay long with that left arm, shot or discus. They don't stay long with the left arm, and they start to pull in. Well, when you pull in, a lot of times you get tight, you pull, and now at the end of the throw, you look like this. And although this isn't a horrible position, it certainly is not as good as having the arm long and back. Okay, we never want to be here, open and tight as that left foot goes down. You want to be closed and long and loose and back. And a lot of times if you are taught to spin, they think ballet, the athletes think figure skater, they bring everything in, and getting everything in and staying nice and short and compact means that you're not long and you're not closed all the way either. Coaches, I hope you can all hear me with this rain. I know the audio quality on this video is not good, and I apologize, but metal roof, there's really nothing I can do about this here, so I apologize for the horrible sound quality. But on to the next one, problem number 7, which is that there is a lack of zero support. Now, we talked about this a couple videos ago. Lack of zero support, double support in the back, single support in that classic kind of South African position. Zero support is when you drive and both feet come off the ground. Both feet come off of the cement. So neither foot is on the ground. Both feet are in the air, zero support. Well, what happens if there is no zero support? If there's no zero support, the throw is very slow. It's basically walking through the circle and not leaping. Actually, leaping is the right term. Kind of side note, leaping is when you go from one foot to the other. A hop is the same foot. A jump is both feet. Okay? Leaping is one foot to the other. So when you leap, you figured it out, leap from the back of the circle to the front of the circle, you are in zero support. If there's no leap, if you try to walk, it is a very slow walk compared to a very explosive leap. When that is slow, and you have an athlete walking slowly through a circle, thinking about accelerating their arms quickly at the end, they will sometimes open up too early. And it looks like this. They'll come through and have this gingerbread cookie position where their body doesn't really separate. They're just kind of turning out of the bag, and it's 1, 2, throw. Instead of running, gaining separation as they're driving across that circle, they're stuck in that gingerbread cookie position, and they're opened up way too early in the front of that circle. Okay, I feel like we're just going through all of our old videos, but what about if the athlete lands with their foot flat in the middle of the circle? So if their foot lands flat in the middle, and they're not up on the ball of their toe, if their foot lands flat, they get stuck here in this kind of twisty, bendy, ouch, my ACL just popped position. And a lot of times what starts to happen, because this is a stoppage, because you cannot pivot on a flat foot, they think I need to gain more speed, and they start to actually use their left arm. So the left arm is what propels them around, and then they lift the foot up late. And if the left arm propels them around, they lift the left foot up late. Where's that left arm pointing? Left arm is pointing right down the middle, and it's not back. So they are too wide open. And last but not least, I would say not the most common reason, but right near the top, is what we talked about in the last video that we did, which is that the left foot is either going too wide around when it comes out of the back, or it's going too high and then down again in the front, and it's taking too long to get there. So we know the best way to speed up a throw is to get the blocking foot from the back of the circle to the front of the circle as quickly as possible. But if this left foot is taking too wide of a turn, so we're here and it's coming around in this wide kind of karate kick motion, it's going to take too long. The racetrack is too long. Or if the foot goes up, like they're trying to kick themselves in the butt, they come out of the back and they go through. It's 1, 2, 3, where this foot has to come all the way up and then all the way down. The racetrack is too long, and it's going to take too much time for the race car to get from the back of the circle to the front of the circle. Well, while that extra time, that extra distance is there, what's the upper body doing? Well, the upper body is on a short racetrack. The upper body is staying back as best as it can. But if the lower body takes too long to get in position, the upper body will open. And if the upper body starts to open in the back, if the athlete starts to lose separation through the middle, if the athlete does not have separation in the front, they are going to be too wide open. So if you are taking too wide of a turn, with the left foot out of the back, or if the left foot's going too high and then back down again, the racetrack is too long. The distance that left foot has to travel is too long, and it's slowing down your lower body. If it slows down the lower body, the upper body is going to continue to unwind, lose separation, and be too wide open. All right, everybody, that just about does it. I am back in my office where there's a little bit of a ceiling at least to prevent all of that noise from the rain. I hope you guys did not have too hard of a time hearing me as I was speaking during that video. The distance away from the camera so you can get my tall, lanky 6'3" self into the frame, plus the metal roof, which you can see right there, plus heavy downpour and thunder and lightning, means this was not the best environment to shoot a video. So I do apologize for that. But I do have a lot of other resources for you, which are going to be popping up here on the screen. Please make sure to check those out. If you haven't subscribed already, you can do that by clicking that subscribe button. You can also check out our previous playlist videos in this Discus series. That's popping up as well as the page to our Nelco Discuses that you can purchase. They are in stock and ship all around the continental US for free. So make sure to check all those out. Click all the stuff popping up on the screen right now. Thank you to everybody for checking out the video. If you have any questions, leave them right down below in the comments section, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you all next week.